What is sovereignty to you? What is for my highest and greatest good? What are your questions about sovereignty? Let's talk about spiritually prepping for ascension. All the things I said, having a healing modality that you channel, such as Reiki. Another thing is knowing your spirit guides, asking them for help, understanding how the world works in the spiritual realm. Joanne says, on the way back from Mississippi, a thought popped into my head about protection. I put me, my friend, and her car in individual bubbles. My friend had to go off the road to not hit the car in front and to not get hit from behind. I didn't panic because I knew we were protected. Welcome to 5D Channels and Chats with Rachel Chamness. As a shamanic channel and mentor, I'll be sharing wisdom and healing from higher dimensions through channeling beings of light. You will also hear liquid Reiki shamanic sound healing, channels between intuitives, and discussion on higher dimensional healing and channeling. You'll find links and more in the show notes, so be sure to check them. You can find me at soundwavesheal.com and my Facebook group, 5D Daily Spiritual Healers in Higher Dimensions. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Chamness at Soundwaves Heal. I hope that you're doing well. Today, I would love to talk about sovereignty and all the different ways that I define it and how you can get sovereignty in your life, or what it is that you need to be thinking about as we're coming to Ascension. So I help Lightworkers work with their psychic clairs in channeling, and trance healing, channeling, healing, and messages. And this is not only for your own work of ascension, but for helping others as well. If you're called to be one of the 144,000 Lightworkers who help other Lightworkers ascend, then there is a lot there that you need to know. And that's what I love to teach. So I had just asked the question, and anyone else want to answer, what is sovereignty to you? And Connie has a great answer: having full control of your thoughts and actions. Yes, definitely. For me, I've always thought about sovereignty as exactly that: having full control of yourself, being able to discern and understand truth and know truth, being able to have abilities to be able to rely on yourself. And that is mainly what I do, is help other people come to this place where they can rely on themselves. Of course, Lightworkers need each other. And if I have a problem, I will go to another Lightworker that I trust and get some healing and some channeling information from that Lightworker. But if I couldn't get another Lightworker, I mean, what do I do? Right? Not everyone is always available, especially a really good Lightworker. A really good channel might not be available when you are. So what do you do? In that case, you need to be able to rely on yourself. So what I would call sovereignty would be that you can rely on yourself for answers. So let's talk a little bit more about this. When you have sovereignty, that means, first of all, that you're clear. And that's where I hear a lot of people talking about being sovereign. I hear a lot about that. I'm sovereign, meaning I'm clear. I don't have any entities or attachments controlling me because I'm clear at this moment. I'm connected to my divine self and I am truly me, right? And being more sovereign is being more truly you. So, how do you get that? That is to really be able to cut to the truth of who you are, stand in your power, and do you have a toolkit to be able to do things that you might need? Or are you fully dependent on calling up a healer or making a scheduled session with a healer or a channel for your answers? Because that's where we can get in trouble. And of course, we all start that way. And of course, we do want guidance, and it's okay to want guidance and to have a mentor. I mean, obviously, I'm a mentor, so I have nothing against it. And I take all kinds of information in from others, not just mentors, but all kinds of light workers. I learn a lot from my clients and my students. I learn a lot just listening and being open and understanding that I don't know everything, that I couldn't possibly know everything. And I try to be open and consider any information coming into me. And then I ask my guides, I look into my internal guidance, I rely on my claircognizance, which everyone has or can open, and feel that knowing of what is right for me and what is not. And that's what I do first, right? And then anything that's left, like, is that right for me? Is that correct for me? Because something could be a truth for someone else and not be for me. And then there's a whole lot of reasons why. It doesn't mean that one of us is wrong and one of us is right. So you could follow someone who gives you like 80% of things that you totally understand are truth and 20% that are not true for you, but are true for them. And that's okay because we could have different timelines, but also because we can understand things differently. And the way that you're understanding that truth isn't computing as true for you. So it doesn't mean that you're the only right one or they're the only right one, but that you have different truths, you know? And this is, of course, not going into the whole false light worker thing where there are false light workers who give you 80% truth and then try to mislead you with 20%. However, if you are following someone and you're like, I love this guy, like, wow, look at him trans channel, he's amazing. And then you're like, what did he just say? And then you start feeling, well, that's weird. Okay, we keep going. And then after a while, you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't resonate with this person. That's good. There you are with your divine truth and really understanding your divine truth. That is the main part of being sovereign. It's like I can rely on myself. If I have a big problem and I have a lot of emotion in that, I would really like an outside opinion. And I go to one of the few people that I trust and I'm like, I need help. And they're like, I can't help you till next week. I'm totally slammed. And I need that answer, then I can do it. I can come into a space. And if I need to, I can clear myself deeply most of the time. Sometimes I cannot, or I feel that it's too difficult to do if you're really caught in, if you have an entity attachment. It happens to everyone. It happens to me, it happens to all. But if you have enough discernment, if you have enough sovereignty to understand that, oh, this is not me, so I need a clearing, then you can find someone to clear you. But as long as you're clear, it's very easy to then get the answers if you know how. So I usually tell people that if they want to have this kind of sovereignty where they can trust themselves deeply and get answers for themselves and be able to lead themselves, then they can start with Reiki 1. I teach a psychic Reiki healing course that I stand behind, and any good Reiki teacher who will attune you one-to-one and give you a manual and lots of information and teach you how and give you a full course that's worth their salt is, that's great. A Reiki 1 attunement to up level you, to bring you to a higher place permanently. And of course, I have a whole podcast on this, so I'm not going to go on, but all of that is really, really important. Then I would give you the advice to learn how to at least meet your spirit guides and channel your spirit guides. And of course, you guys know, if you follow me, that I have a free spirit guide masterclass, a free channeling your spirit guides program. It's a full course and lots of links and good things at soundwaveshealed.com/spirit guides. And you can always access that. And I think that that helps a great deal. I get a lot of good feedback from it. But learning to know who your spirit guides are and learning to get information. So I have a client who just finished my level 1 course, which is for beginners to intermediate, and it's the first level of learning how to channel in all different ways, especially trance channeling and learning how to trance heal. She told me that a whole bunch of crazy stuff was happening at work, and most of them were being laid off, and it was just so complicated. There's all these things happening, and she was so glad that she could channel her spirit guides to get answers on what to do. And that's one reason why I love trance channeling, because you can really remove your ego from it. And trance channel, taking a course like that really helps with your discernment as well, learning to discern what is of the light and what is not. So with sovereignty, that means you're truly yourself, you're clear, and you can find the answers. You understand what's truth and not truth. So there are different levels of sovereignty. Already, all of you can use your innate claircognizance to know what is truth and what's not. And sometimes all it takes is just calming down, going to a quiet place, maybe sitting in nature. And that itself could clear you if you don't feel very clear, or it could at least separate all the emotions and all the chaos of the 3D world. Go into nature, sit next to a tree, or sit next to some plants and sit in the grass and just connect to earth, connect to your higher self, and then think about A versus B and which one is the truth or which one is the better choice. And you can make that decision yourself as long as you're clear. But if you're not clear, you'll know it in that instance too. If you go and do all that and then you're just like, wow, I can't even think. There's all these terrible thoughts in my head, or I just keep hearing all these put downs or self-incriminating thoughts or depressing thoughts, and I'm listening to them. That's your first clue. You're hearing them, then it's not you. So that's important. Then you know, well, I'm not clear and I need a clearing. But you could sit in nature for a while and ask for a clearing and you might be cleared. So that's, of course, being clear is like the first step of sovereignty. I think the next part is that claircognizance, like then saying, should I do this or this, A or B? Now, remember, you don't really want to use should. I was just using a quick example, but you want to ask better. You want to say, what is for my highest and greatest good? Choice A or choice B or choice C, or does it matter? I keep a notes file on my phone, that little yellow notes app. And then I put all my questions in there. Every time I have a question, I put it in there. And I have this long, long list of questions. So if I have a session with Gia, then, I have questions there. But most of the time I get so many questions that I just wait until I'm in a good space, or I'm in my sacred circle where I have time to really go deep. Because when you're answering questions for yourself, you need to go a lot deeper, be in a very still place, have your mind to be in a meditative state, a higher brain function, and just ask and get the answers. And that's what I do. So sometimes I have all these questions and I ask and get all the answers for myself. And sometimes I'm lazy and I ask Gia to do it. And that's okay too. We need each other, light workers, but also we need to be able to be our own hero if we have to. So, what are your questions about sovereignty? One thing I really wanted to say is this: there's a lot of talk about physically prepping for this 3D timeline. My guides always say, do not prep for the 3D timeline, for this puts you on the 3D timeline. And that's a huge trust thing. So that means that you have to be able to fully trust that spirit has your back if you're not going to prep. Now, if you love to have a garden, then have a garden. If you like jarring your foods or whatever, but if you are working out of fear, canning everything, being prepared for that zombie apocalypse or the 3D timeline, which does look pretty hairy, then you are really identifying with that. You're seeing yourself in that future and you're taking that timeline. And so you really need to instead know that I am always taken care of. The universe looks out for me. The universe has my back and I am safe. Now, if you still feel like, ooh, but I still want to have a wonderful garden and grow my own vegetables and all of that, then do it, but not out of fear. I don't believe that you need to physically prep for ascension or for anything coming in this life, but I think you need to spiritually prep for it. And that's what I'm talking about here. To reach your sovereignty, to be able to be sovereign in a time where things can get hairy or not. Now, I have been told over and over, you will see the 3D timeline getting worse and worse, but your vantage is from the 5D timeline and you will see it happening, but it won't be happening to you. And that is what I have experienced so far. If it does happen to you, if something does happen, that doesn't mean, oh no, I'm on the 3D timeline. It could be that it's happened to you, but then you see that, oh, it's really not that bad. Or look at all the miracles that happened. Or, wow, it's so safely held in the universe's hands when that happened, because it could have been horrible, but it was not. So there's a lot to that, so don't feel like, oh no, I lost my electricity or the hurricane came my way and now I must be on the wrong timeline. That's not it. How did you handle it? And what happened? And what miracles did you look for? And what happened there? That's really important too. So Shauna says, yes, I realized this after the first time I felt I needed to prep and realized I was setting myself up to be part of that timeline. Cancel, clear, moving forward, and trust and faith. I love it. So cancel, clear are switch words that help you clear out your negative thoughts. That's a great thing to do there. And yes, but let's talk about spiritually prepping for ascension. All of things I said, having a healing modality that you channel, such as Reiki, very, very helpful. Being able to heal yourself, Reiki 1, I just love it. You can heal yourself, your plants, your animals, your kids, your family. You may not be a practitioner at level 1, but that's okay. Look at all that you can do. It also just brings your vibration up so high permanently. So that's in your toolkit. What about using angel fire or some sort of light modality where you imagine a bubble of light, different things like that? I teach this on my site for $11, and it's very useful to know the different colors and what to use and how to use it so that you can protect yourself and others without using your own light, because angel fire is where you're using the angel's light. You're not using your own light. And when you use Reiki, you're not depleting your own light, you're channeling light. So it's the same sort of thing, except for angel fires where it's a request. You have a thought about a pink bubble around you or whatever, and then the angels receive that request and immediately do it for you because, of course, they're outside of time as well. So that's a good thing in your toolkit. Another thing is knowing your spirit guides, asking them for help. Another great thing in your toolkit is understanding how the world works in the spiritual realm, how to ask for help from your angels, how to work with Fae, how to call in those spirit guides that you do know and those that you don't. Working with angels also really great to know about how to call them in or who to call in or just asking for that help. Sometimes we forget that you must ask. So all of that's really good. Knowing about gratitude seems so trite and simple, but being able to understand that if you end your day every day with gratitude or you use gratitude to be thankful for what you have, that will bring so much more to you. So easy to forget that. We get so caught up in the 3D. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Or how's this going to go? Because this looks really bad. Instead of thinking about how it's going to be so bad, that's law of attraction negativity. Bringing more of that to you is to switch your thoughts to what's going well. Oh, I'm so grateful for this beautiful sunshine today, that I had some time to myself today, that I was able to go to an art class today, talking about myself. I'm so grateful my spouse is home today. He's got the day off. Thinking about anything that you're grateful for. If you want to buy a new house because you hate where you live, then you have to learn how to love where you live. I did this myself. I really wanted to move to a different state, a different kind of house, et cetera, et cetera. So I began to give a lot of gratitude for all the things about the house that I did love. Oh, I love the hardwood floors. Oh, I love that this house will always have so many great memories for me because my child spent most of his years from 2 to 10 in this house. That is something that I'll always look back and remember those wonderful times. And that's true. I do. That's how I remember the old house. And because of that, I was able to have this gratitude for the house, and the universe said, "Oh, she feels gratitude for her house. Let's give her more gratitude for her house. So now I have this house and I love this house." So all of that is spiritual prep for ascension. And there's more. There's so much more. And there's a million things that we could do. You could put them in the comments if one is coming up to you. But that's what I would say sovereignty is. Being clear, understanding if you're clear or not, being able to say, okay, I'm not sovereign in this moment. I'm not clear. So I'm going to reach out to someone to clear me, or I'm going to go out into nature. I'm going to do whatever if I can clear myself. Some people are very good at clearing themselves, but every once in a while needs someone else to clear them. Make sure you're deeply clearing yourself. And then understanding truth, knowing what's true and what's not, or knowing when you need to question the truth is also great. You don't always have to know it's true, it's not true, but to be suspicious. Is that true? Let's look into that. Let me get into a space to find out if that's true. Let me reach out to someone I know gives great channels and information. It's always good with insights, giving me yes or no answers, and ask them what they think. And most people have small sessions for things like this. I do. I have a little mini session, but you get a lot in a mini session, but that's great for questions. And then having a toolkit, being able to stand in your power, being able to do something, not being just a sitting duck, needing someone else to help you in all cases. Like, this is a spiritual world. We're walking into a much higher vibration. Do you know how to heal others? Do you know how to heal yourself? Do you know how to channel your spirit guides? Do you know how to receive information? Do you know how to receive information and know that it's from the light? All skills that need to be taught. I mean, I teach them, and lots of light workers teach them, and they're important, right? So spiritually prepping for ascension is important. Now, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Joanne says, on the way back from Mississippi, a thought popped into my head about protection. I put me, my friend, and her car in individual bubbles. Not 10 minutes later, traffic came to a complete stop. You might have avoided something there. My friend had to go off the road to not hit the car in front and to not get hit from behind. I didn't panic because I knew we were protected. See, isn't that great? You have that intuition feeling. And then you acted on it, you had a calm sense, a claircognizant sense that you were safe and protected. And that in itself was a channeled information. You could have still been scared, freaked out, but you knew you had a quiet sense of knowing, claircognizance that you were protected. See, that's wonderful. And I've had that too, where, I had a quick thought and I did a quick protection thing and then found out that it was a good thing I did. When we went to the retreat this year, I do an annual retreat. Joanne was there last year. And before we go, we do a big healing, a clearing of the cabin, a clearing of everyone's travel there in their cars or their planes or however they're getting there. And on the way back, we do all of this. And it's open. Anyone who's coming to the retreat can watch it. But this year, I really got something about really protecting our cars for myself and for another person who was coming to the retreat. It turned out it was a good thing. And I felt like, I am so glad I did that because I felt like it really protected me from getting into an accident. So yes, it's really simple. I've talked about it at length, hoping that that helps, but I just think it's a really important part of Ascension. Yes, there's 2 timelines, and all it means, I'll just say it again, is that the 3D timeline gets worse and worse, and those who are actively seeking Ascension or seeking self-improvement, working with spiritual concepts and working on themselves, all of you here, all those who are following me, you're all looking, seeking spiritual answers. All of you are going towards ascension. And the 144,000 light workers, as I've channeled many times, are just light workers who are helping other people become light workers or helping other people grow and empowering others. And I hope that you want to do that too. And I love to teach the teachers. So if there's no more questions, you can always put them in the comments later, especially in YouTube, and I will check them out and try to give you an answer. Thank you for coming. I'm Rachel Chamness at Soundwave Seal. I'm a shamanic channel and mentor. I love to help lightworkers learn how to heal and channel in higher dimensions with trance channeling and trance healing. So thanks and see you later. Thank you for watching. I'm Rachel Chamness at soundwaveseal.com. I love to help lightworkers trance channel messages, light, and healing in higher dimensions. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and follow on social media. And consider checking out my Tag Lightworkers monthly mentorship program.